Hello and welcome to Tech Lessons with Alvin. In today's lesson, we'll be discussing tunneling protocols. Now, again, this promises to be an interesting discussion, and I hope you stick with us to the end. Well, so who is this? Who is this? If I didn't go to Google, I wouldn't even have known that this is what she looked like, honestly. But I've heard about her. But we'll find out why she's here, who she is, and what she has to do with tunneling protocols. Right? Some of you may already know. But then, for those of us that don't know who she is, we'll find out why she's here very soon. So let's dig in. So first off, the definition. You need to know what it is, right? A tunneling protocol is one that encloses in its datagram another complete data packet that uses a different communications protocol. Let it sink in. I'll read it again for emphasis. Let it sink in. A tunneling protocol is one that encloses in its datagram another complete data packet that uses a different communications protocol. Now we'll get to that in a bit. Next point here says that they essentially create a tunnel between 2 points on a network that can securely transmit any kind of data between them. Right? The next slide is where I'll shed more light on this. But then I highlighted this word datagram. In the networking field, we're familiar with the word packets. But then what's the difference? Why do we have datagram here and packets separately? Now I found a really convincing answer I'd like to share with you before we move on. And we'll discuss it right now, in fact. Well, when we use connection-oriented protocol for communication, packets are used. But when we use connectionless protocol for communication, datagrams are used. Now, what does that mean? With connection-oriented protocols, this simply means that the data knows where it is going, right? The data is concerned with establishing a connection with the other end, with the destination and the source. So let's say my laptop is the source and your phone or streaming device is the destination, right? The data moving from my end must know where it is going, must know your IP and your MAC address, and it should also be able to give me feedback when it reaches there, right? But with connectionless protocol, well, of course, they'll need to know where they are going, but they don't need to give me feedback. Think of TCP. TCP is a perfect example of connection-oriented, right? Because with TCP, once the packet reaches the other end, it sends an acknowledgement message to the source, to the sender, which is me, letting me know that my packet has arrived successfully. If not, I'll have to resend. But with something like UDP, now UDP is a datagram, it's connectionless, because it doesn't let me know what happened. Did it reach safely? Did my packet reach safely or not? I will never know. So these streaming services make good use of these connectionless protocols like UDP. Again, you could think of it this way with WhatsApp, right? If you send a message on WhatsApp to a number, once it has arrived, you receive confirmation in the form of a tick, right? With the type of tick, you get to know whether your message has been sent, received, or read. If it's a blue tick, you know the person has seen it and read it, obviously, right? If it's a gray tick, the person may not be online yet. So that is the feedback, the acknowledgement. Now that is connection oriented. But let's say this is YouTube. I've uploaded this video. As of now, I haven't. But let's say I have. Now it's uploaded, and someone comes to the comment section and types something. Now the person will send a message, alright, but if I read it, how will the person know? You see what happens here? The person will never know Now that is connectionless. That is connectionless. I hope that's clear. So that's the difference between a datagram and a packet. The packet is connection oriented, but the datagram is connectionless. Now, take a look at this. Tunneling is the ability to take a fully formed packet and stuff it inside of another packet header or headers. Forward it to an endpoint. Have the outer header removed and then have the inner packet forwarded on to its destination. One example of tunneling is in Ipv6. Ipv6 is not implemented everywhere. IPv4 is still all over the place. So how do IPv6 packets get transferred? Now that's a good question. The answer is that they are contained as payloads inside IPv4 packets, and this is called Ipv6 tunneling. Now let's slow it down. You see, with the parts of the packet, we have the header, the payload, and the trailer or the footer in that order. So knowing the parts of the packet is essential to understanding what this means. This, I won't call it encapsulation, but this is what tunneling is about. So I'll bring in an illustration I hope will shed more light on this, and I'll come back to this slide and reread this definition in the hopes that by that time understanding will go up from maybe 240 pixels to 720, right? So let's go on and take a look at it. Now that's the little extra info I'll be introducing. Good. Now this is making use of the OSI model, right? You can see here the 7 layers from physical all the way up to the application layer. So we get to see the broader picture. This is the parent of the TCP/IP model. Excellent. So what we are looking at here is encapsulation. Now the word encapsulation, don't let it disorient you. It's a nice big word, but it's simple. It comes from capsule, putting into a capsule, containing, right? So think of a capsule as a pocket. Now your pocket is a capsule. If you put something in your pocket, that's encapsulation. If you take something out of your pocket, that's decapsulation. Now let's take a look at the info. A packet, as we stated earlier, has 3 parts: a header, body or payload, and a trailer or footer. And tunneling makes use of encapsulation, which can be explained as follows. Now, as the packet travels through the TCP/IP protocol stack, the protocols at each layer either add or remove fields from the basic header. When the protocol on the sending host adds data to the packet header, this process is called data encapsulation. So if you are looking at the diagram, if you are going upwards, that's decapsulation, because you are taking away information from the header. Each layer takes the information it needs, and at the end, the final data is sent to the application layer. But the data from the application layer can't just hop all the way to bits on the cable. No, the cable will not understand. What am I supposed to do with this, right? So now the transport layer adds some information to the header section. The network layer adds some information as well. The data link goes on to add some information as well. Finally, it goes to the physical layer. Now this is the order. This is the protocol. This is the rule. This is the norm. This is how it's done. So what we are looking at here is encapsulation. And if you look at it the other way around, decapsulation. Now this is important. Why is this important? We are talking about tunneling. Let's go back to the definition here and read it once more. Tunneling is the ability to take a fully formed packet and stuff it inside of another packet header or headers, forward it to an endpoint, have the outer header removed, and then have the inner packet forwarded to its destination. Now, to be real with you, this is sneaky. This is sneaky. This is sneaky. And you know why this is sneaky? Because in a sense, they're deceiving the network. Yeah, this tunneling is a sort of deceptive protocol. Because, and we'll find out later by means of the illustration, just how amazing and deceptive this protocol is. It's really sneaky. Now, we're back to this. Think of the 3 parts we mentioned, right? Now, don't they sound familiar? English class, composition, your school days. Now, I don't know about you, but here, sometimes we write what's known as a formal letter. Now, this looks very much like a formal letter, right? You have your header, which is the address, the sender's address and the recipient's address. And then you have your body, which is the content of the letter. I hope you are doing well, blah, 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 blah. Right? And your footer, which could be your ending, yours successfully, yours truly, followed by your name. Now, the footer also contains information on how the packet is to be handled. Right? So you could liken it to a PS at the bottom of the letter. PS, then the extra info. Now, that's it. Then what tunneling here is doing, what makes it so interesting is that now, right? Now imagine we were sending out messages to each other. Imagine I wrote you a normal letter. Sender's address, recipient's address, dear viewer, with some nice text, and at the end, yours truly, Alvin. But then, the main content of my letter wasn't in the body, but hidden somewhere in the address. Now that sounds like something you see in a detective movie, like something, a cold Sherlock Holmes may be trying to crack. But then, in a sense, that's how I understand this tunneling protocol. Because the real content, the real message, is not after the DSA, it's not what follows after that. The real message is in the address, the post office box, the date, the where you stay, the city and town. Imagine everything was a code and you had to crack it. Now that was the real letter. Wouldn't that be cool? Now, in a way, that's what they've managed to do here. See? So you remember her. Who is she? Who is she? What does she have to do with tunneling protocols? Well, this is Harriet Tubman. Yep. And Harriet Tubman was an American abolitionist and a political activist. Born into slavery, she escaped and subsequently made some 13 missions to rescue approximately 70 enslaved people, including her family and friends, using the network, I like that word, using the network remix, including family and friends, using the network of anti-slavery activists and safe houses known as the Underground Railroad. Now I hope you get the connection now. Underground Railroad, tunneling, but it's more than just the word that drew me to this story. There's a rich history here. Reading it really opened my mind. But then, this is about networking. You see, Harriet Tubman had to create a network to transport people from the slave states to the free states. Now, that network involved houses, safe houses, private homes, churches, and schoolhouses, right? And so there were people she couldn't go to, and people she could go to. This links a bit to the virtual private network. That's what she created here, a virtual private network, a VPN, right? Using this tunneling protocol. So imagine there are 100 houses between her and then the free states. She can't walk straight with all the slaves, on the normal alley, broad daylight. No, there'll be repercussions. They have to pick a convenient time And even when they had the time, they couldn't just go anywhere they wanted, take a stop at any house they wanted and just ask for hospitality. No, they could be killed. So they had to establish safe houses. They had to know that, okay, we're walking and we are not going to be seen, and we'll keep walking until we reach this church, or we'll keep walking until we reach this schoolhouse, or we'll keep walking until we reach this private home, right? Those were, in a sense, the routes. That's the routes, the unique routes they created inside that network, like a VPN, like a virtual private network. And this is what made her such a successful abolitionist and an activist. She understood networking before it was a thing. That's amazing. That's amazing. And so our networks now are trying to do the same thing, right? So there are particular routers. So if you connect to a VPN, it doesn't just pass your packets through the normal routes. No. There are particular routers that your packets bounce off to get to their destination, so that they can't easily be identified by the network, especially if you are trying to penetrate a firewall. Maybe the firewall doesn't allow you access a certain site or view certain content in a certain country. This is where the encapsulation comes in. So that information, right, that packet is put into a different packet, is disguised to look like a packet that the firewall will accept. And so once it goes in and sheds its skin, it goes where you want it to go. Let's say you want to watch YouTube, but the YouTube is blocked. So use a VPN. In a sense, it's Harriet Tubman all over again. You can't walk in broad daylight. You can't walk and go to anybody's house and take a nap and continue your journey. You die in your sleep. So you need to go to a particular place and rest with particular people. Same way your packet needs to travel to particular routers and get routed from that router to another particular router on the network to get to its destination. I really hope you enjoyed this information and you learned a lot from Harriet Tubman and the little illustrations. Now before we close, one more time, let's read the definition. A tunneling protocol is one that encloses in its datagram another complete data packet that uses a different communications protocol. Now this has been Tech Lessons with Alvin, and I really enjoyed this lesson. I hope you did, even if you don't, Charlie. Still, it was cool for me. Seriously, I hope you enjoyed it. You should enjoy it. And this has been Tunneling Protocols. Have a great day.